Welcome, everyone. Well, here we are on week 6 of our 8 weeks to director training, and such an important topic. This topic is one to take very seriously because it sets the foundation for everything in your future, and we are talking about servicing our customers.
And we have this great training team that we work with that shares with us every week. And what I love about this team is that these are not people that are saying, well, I read about how you should do Shaklee, and this is what we suggest. Or, if I were you, this is how you should do it. These are people sharing real life experiences as they are building their Shaklee businesses. And that makes this a very special kind of training.
And with that, we'll go ahead and talk about our objectives for today. So we are going to understand our role in servicing customers. We're going to learn how to incorporate new member orientations into our system. And that's going to be one thing we're going to emphasize. It's just great if you can take any of these things we talked today and kind of put them into your own system. Then we're going to talk about how to utilize this new member orientation and actually do it with your people. Talk about some incentives that you could offer. Review some ideas about introducing business information to your members, and then we're going to hear from some people on how they set up their customer service system.
Great. So one of the wonderful things that we experienced when we were at the Chairman's Retreat was just a little bit of what the company and the home office is doing in terms of their perspectives of the next year. And Roger talked about this idea of consumer value proposition, which basically means that they want to equip us to provide excellent customer service and experience. So we wanted to visit this real quick. We bring value to our customers in a lot of different ways, but the number one way is, of course, through our Shaklee products. We know that if people use these products, they're going to change their lives. They're that good. So we have this wonderful thing where the company is backing us with their obsession with purity and potency, and the ingredients are scrutinized. And it's a big deal, and it's a wonderful thing that we get to offer our members, and we need to make sure that we're communicating and helping them understand that. And then also in the way we do business. And I remember hearing my upline saying once, I let all of my new members know, this is Pat Smeka, and she said that customer care is very important to me, that I take it very seriously. And I thought it was a wonderful identity she had assumed and then communicated beautifully. So we want to make sure that our members get personalized attention, that we work with them very specifically to make sure that the products that they're using are working exactly the way they should, and we're problem solving and we're discussing, and sometimes they need more, so we're really involved with that. But even most of all, we want them to know that they matter to us, and that we check in with them because they're so important, and that we really do care. So there was another discussion of this amazing thing that's happening in the world right now of high tech, but also needing to pull in high touch. And Roger talked about where we're going and how we're going to really leapfrog the technology world and move into digitization full on in Shaklee. But then they did a beautiful job discussing how important it is that as we move into high tech, that we still recognize the need for high touch. And I think this is such an important conversation because all of us fall on the spectrum in different areas. Some people love technology, they love to learn new things, and other people really think it's the devil, right? I mean, they swear it off. They don't even want to have anything to do with it. Yet it is the way the world is moving, and we need to keep up with that because people will go to the places and will shop and purchase and work in the places that have the best technology. But we also know that that human factor, that interaction, is the key thing that brings in loyalty and longevity. So it's such a great conversation. Here's one thing that I would recommend, and I love this quote down here at the bottom, the definition of illiterate: people who are unable to learn, unlearn, or relearn. So as leaders, it is really important that we regularly have an attitude check. And so this is something I'll do with myself. What is my attitude about learning some new things? Do I have a crummy one? Have I internally decided that I won't learn? This is something that we have to recognize. And so I'll give you a little mantra that I say to myself: I'm a good learner. I love to learn. I can learn anything I put my mind to, and I'm not afraid to work hard to learn it. And so just having that attitude makes it easier for me to move into it because there's no internal resistance to the new stuff, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
That is
Yes.
so
Oh,
important.
that's so true.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's all in how we sometimes the languaging we're using with ourselves. If we're saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, I don't understand technology. I don't like it. It just scares me. I'm just not going to have anything to do with it."
Yeah.
That's not good. But if we say to ourselves, "If I can learn a little bit about this technology stuff, I can take my business to new heights."
Exactly.
That's right.
Now
That's
you're
right.
And the
you're opening
opposite is
yourself up.
true too.
Mhm.
We laughed at I was with my uplines at a meeting just last night, and they were laughing about how I would, oh, I don't really make phone calls, and I would say that, and I would say I don't really set goals, and I don't really make phone calls, and when I stopped saying to a lot of different things, I don't do that, or that's not how I do it, and even now as I find the balance of doing well by continuing to learn and continuing to grow and continuing to see different perspectives and how each of these things, when you put down those walls of I don't or I can't,
Mm-hmm.
and you do and you can.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right. That's right.
That,
So our
that's
perspective
a great
carries
comment,
the
Harper.
key,
I really
right?
love that. Go
Very
ahead,
good,
please.
very good. I was just say our perspective carries the key, and sometimes we make these new things bigger and harder in our head because we're committed to them being too big and too hard. So we just want you to move into where we're going as a company full on and to get excited and to love it and to embrace the app. I remember hearing, it was so cute, Jen Weigel out here, and she was doing a little training on the app, and she's like, just get in there, start pushing all the buttons, and you'll learn it, And sometimes we need permission to do that because we're afraid of breaking it. She goes, you can't break it. Just push all these buttons. And so
I think I could. I think I could break it.
but I thought it was really good advice because
Yes.
we have a gift in these
Mhm.
things that are coming to us and we don't want to miss out on them. But Joe, you said something so important. If we can embrace it, then we can help our teams embrace it. But I always tell my team, it's like the laundry pile. I see a laundry pile and I kid you not, my brain says that would take you 3 years to get that laundry done. It will never get done. And that's not true. I can get it done in probably a day or so if I work hard. But the point is that if I see the laundry pile that takes 3 years and then I convey that to my team, they're going to think that laundry takes 3 years to do,
Yeah.
right? And I need
Right.
to be
That's
a
right.
leader and say, we've got this. We're going to love this, right? And so you saw that great quote from Roger. So in our businesses, success is all about customer relationship, and that's really what we're moving in today. It's what leads to orders and referrals and business partners. We know that the relationship part in Shaklee is everything. Our orders go up when we help them to use the products well and help them to understand. They bring people to us when they trust us and they know that their friends are going to be treated well and they're going to get great results. And then people want to be our business partners when they like who we are and who we're being and what we represent. They want to become like us. And so your relationship is the opening of every door that you need in your business. So people do business with people they know and like and trust. So we are going to get head on into this topic.
So we asked Angie to stay with us because one of the speakers at the conference was Presidential Master Coordinator Mary Osterhaus. So Angie, would you just share what some of her points were that she shared with us at the conference?
Hi, am I unmuted?
You're good. Yep.
Oh,
we hear you.
So I really love this part. I love Mary Osterhaus. I love hearing her speak. I'm just a huge fan. So I really, her first 2 points, first impressions should be special, and then every time after that should be special too. And I love that because, especially with social media, we have first impressions all over the place. Even just picking up our kids from school, and I'm so guilty of this. Like I'll run into school in my sweatpants and sunglasses because I don't have makeup on, and it's like that really the first impression I want to make. And what Mary Osterhaus said at the retreat was, to be healthy, to look the part, to really be someone that someone wants to trust their health decisions to, but also if on the business side of it, their livelihood too. And I just think that's really important. And I mean, especially with social media, on one thing I keep thinking of is on a lot of our posts about kids' health, for example, we really play up the fact that our kids' vitamins don't have any artificial colors or sweeteners or those things in it. And then the next day, we might be posting a picture of our kids with blue ice cream all over their face. And it's like that, okay, so our kids have blue ice cream at a birthday party, but I'm trying to be careful of not posting that on Facebook, just to make sure, not to give false impressions, but just to make sure that people really see me as someone who walks the talk. So those 2 points are really important. So nurture and nourish, to really look at our customers and our team members as, to help feed them, to help feed where they need to be. So if it's a team member and they're brand new, to really make sure that they know where the trainings are, that they're connected, that they feel like they can ask for help. And I really just, we're not going to do everything for them, but to guide them and to help them and see where they are in things. I think number 4, to show a little TLC. I think this is something that we can do in all of our interactions every single day. And Becky, you do this every time I talk to you. And Barb, both of you guys are so beautiful at this. And Becky, you and I talked so much yesterday, and you just, the way you compliment people and it's just so wonderful. And I always feel like, woohoo, I'm awesome. Thanks, Becky. And,
you are. It's true.
To say to someone, something really nice can really lift their day. And I remember that being such a nice point in that book, The Happiness Advantage, that Sean Acor, who spoke at Cleveland, talked about, that when we just say one thing, even as little as, I like your shirt, that could really lift oh gosh, oh, I do look nice today, but in our business, if someone's really struggling with their kid's health, gosh, you're really, you're really doing a beautiful job. It is hard to make our picky children eat vegetables. But the fact that you're really trying, I really commend you for that. That can make someone feel like going from the worst mom on the planet because their kid won't eat a carrot to a really great mom that's trying. And I think that can really be important, especially when we're talking to people that are struggling in one way or the other. And that includes customers and team members. Give people 100% of your attention. And this is something I struggle with. So obviously we do a lot of our conversations in our office in front of our computers. And sometimes Facebook is popping up, we have a new message or a new notification, or we get a little notification about an email, and we get distracted, and we're not giving people 100% of our attention, and they can feel that, and then we're not doing the best job we can, whether it's, trying to lead them as a, in the team, or discussing their health with them, or a problem that they're having or whatever. So I think what I realize to do is to just go into my bedroom sometimes and talk on the phone in there, because I don't have a computer or a TV or anything distracting me in there.
Oh, good idea. That's a great idea.
Thank you. Send thank you notes. And Mary talks about how we can use the Shapley Connect app to do this really quickly. They alert us when we have someone that just placed an order, and we can quickly send them an email or a text to say thank you. I do a lot of handwritten thank you notes, and not everybody and not every order, but I do try to sprinkle in handwritten thank you notes throughout. Getting real mail with a real letter that's being really handwritten is such a luxury these days. It doesn't happen anymore, and so I think that helps differentiate us from other people when we can do that. Excel at communication and conversation. This is just something that we're constantly working on, and those skills are being built. But that kind of goes back to the 100% of attention, our listening, and then also the complimenting and hearing them, and then affirming their actions and affirming where they are, and just those skills of listening and then repeating and then affirming and suggesting are, it's kind of an art that is, so just the more we have conversations, the better we'll get. Acknowledge the success of others. Again, this goes back to that other point, but also acknowledge the success of others that are not maybe necessarily on your team. So, I love when I see a post. Most recently, Harper's accomplishment of reaching T, and everyone is saying, congratulations, I'm so happy. And I mean, what that probably did for Harper to read all of that was probably even made it even better for her to reach that milestone in her career. And I love that we as a Shaklee family do that for each other. And I think that sets us apart from other areas that I've been in life. Educate, recommend, support. This is something that differentiates us from other companies that we might be competing with. We have so many tools to educate ourselves, to educate our team, and to educate our customers. And people can take it or leave it, but the fact that we have it really is an amazing part. And I think that, that this is something that people should be taking as much advantage of as they can. And I guess if you're listening to this, you are doing that. So that's fantastic. And then appreciate your customers, members, distributors. They're why we're here. And they're why we can keep doing what we love to do. So, we just want to make sure that everybody knows how grateful we are for them, and that without our customers and our distributors and our team, up and down from us, we could not be here doing what we're doing and learning and growing, and then sharing and helping this world be a better place. So, to appreciate that to them, but also to acknowledge that in yourself, that this isn't. Sometimes we get into this isolated place of it's all about me, and I say this is all me. Sometimes I feel, making judgment calls on everybody. And I love this gratitude always, just going through life, how at the end here, Mary said, gratitude always. And that's a good thing to wake up in the morning and think about.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Angie. Well presented.
Well, and I love to, when I'm writing thank you notes, oftentimes I'll have, just right before I sign my name, I'll say thank you so much for your loyal business or something, just to appreciate them, that we acknowledge that you've been a customer for a long time or whatever. So great customer service creates raving fans. Look at this cute little lady. And business partners, look at him. So we're going to get into our next piece now.
All right, so it's important that we recognize that this is actually part of our job. This isn't something that just we do if we're extra special, but it's part of our job. It's our identity. It's our role. So we want to frame that we want people to recognize that Shaklee people become members for three reasons. Most often, and many times, the entry point is to purchase Shaklee products at a discount, right? So that's a great entry into our groups, into our consumer bases, but to have access to our health resources, our guidance, and special promotions. Many times I'll tell people this is truly one of the most amazing things that you get when you become a member of ours, is that the knowledge and the information is extraordinary. It is life-changing. And I've often said to my leaders, it is the backbone of who we are, is education. This is where we really empower people to change their lives, right? So our products change their bodies, our education changed their lives, but we get to change their experience in every way with the service that we offer. So it's part of all of our job. So recognizing that we teach new members about each remarkable Shaklee product, and this is a process. I like to tell people it's a journey, right? So someone joins us on this journey and we explore Shaklee together. We can't require them to sit down for 6 hours for a lecture on 350 products, but we can offer opportunities to bring the knowledge to them, and there's incentives and different things, but just being aware that we want to pass the knowledge to them about the products, and when we do, they use the products for life. And we always want to share with them different discounts and different ways to kind of incentivize that, but then always benefits, share with others, I'm sorry, that's where I had the gap in my brain. You know what, I think the referral piece, I was like, what, didn't I just say that? But now I get it. We want to share how they can share with others. So here's the picture I'll paint really quickly. From the very first time you start talking about Shaklee with someone to they become a member, you do a new member appointment, which Harper's going to share on beautifully here, to their ongoing member care. We want to gently and positively paint the picture of them sharing with people. So I'll say things like, you know what, as you listen to these CDs or these webinars, or as you're using these products, you're going to think of other people that would like to hear about Shaklee. I would love to help you just create a way to share Shaklee with other people. We love referrals, and I would love love to give you a little bit of a thank you for sharing with them. And so I create a culture of referral partners from the very beginning, and my members respond really well, and they like it because I've kind of taught them to do it, but it feels good and it feels natural, right? So that's important. And then, of course, the benefits of a Shaklee business. It is our job to make sure that they can always come and check out the business side of Shaklee. And if we let them know that that's what we're here for, and that they're always going to be comfortable and safe, and it's never going to get awkward or weird or aggressive, they have that seed planted. So again, you just want to let them know that my role here is to help you be successful, to educate you about who we are and what we do and our products, and to help you share with others as you're thinking of people that can use Shaklee, and then I can teach you about the business if you're interested. So hopefully that makes good sense.
That's beautiful, Lisa. So we're going to talk about creating a system, and I want to take a couple of comments that Angie made excuse me, earlier that I love about when she was talking about being authentic. And when we're thinking about creating our system, we are going to share with you some outline, kind of bone structure for how you can do this, but I want you to have the freedom to do it. How you actually have that system come to life is individual to you. So you could do this on a computer, you could do this on notepads or note cards. We have a picture here of a 3-ring binder. So I want you to think about this as these are the elements we think we would recommend to have in your system, but then we want you to choose a system that works best for your brain. Okay, so this first one is an example that you could have a 3-ring binder with alphabetical dividers. You would have a sheet for every customer, so you'd be dividing this by their last name, and that's why you have the alphabetical divider. Then you can make notes about your contacts with them, and I know in the beginning you think, I'll be able to remember that because maybe you don't have very many people, but I'm going to tell you in a very short amount of time, you want to be trained to write everything down because you'll be amazed at how many customers you have and you accumulate, and you want to remember, oh, I knew I had a note to call her, but I have no idea why I was going to call her. So then you can look up in your notes of why did I, I recommended Be Complex or, whatever. So we have those, and then you can have a welcome email that you have created and other materials, and you can have that either in your binder or in a folder on your computer. When I first started, I always feel like I'm talking from like Little House on the Prairie, but we did not have the internet in my home, and so I did. And so I started everything on note cards, and I got the big note cards, and I just had that little box with. I had 2 sets of note cards. One was a box that was alphabetical with their names, and then my other box had days of the month, and I would put in cards of who I was going to call on the 2nd of the month, and then I would, after I called them, I'd figure out when I was going to call them again and put them in that order. So anyway, that's just a few other ideas of how you could do this. So when you're looking at the 3-ring binder working idea, include a calendar with your events and things that you're going to be inviting people to, and then an outline of your new member process. You want to have your goals handy, and we do recommend a 90-day goal and to have those in front of you. That's going to be a really important part to keep you focused. And I will say, even being in this business for a long time, you would think that you've done this for several years, you could probably not have to have that. Actually, I still need to have that. It's just like anything else in our life. We need to have that daily reminder of what are we doing again, and okay, yeah, I wanted to have that accomplished by April, so I need to be working on this today. So it's just really important. And you can put these on your computer too. If you're a computer person, put those on your computer and just figure out, again, take this structure and then filter it through your individual, how you like stuff, and make it that way. So we want to create some program. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. A great system to use if you like using the computer is a program called Evernote. It's free, but Evernote is something that you can have on your phone or on your computer. I did try this for a while, and I really like old school methods. I have an old school planner. I do the note cards, but a lot of people on my team, and I know other people, like I have a professional photographer friend who does this, but Evernote can be on your computer, but it can also be on your phone. So you can have a note for every customer that can keep track of all of these things, and then it's It's on your phone when you're out and about, but it's also on your computer if you want to type things up, and you can keep track in both places. So it's another great system to consider if you want to do it electronically.
That is such a good point, Harper. Thank you so much for interjecting that, because I've never even heard of that.
Could I mention? I want to mention one other thing before you leave that last slide, Becky. One is this business leader guide that you'll see us referring to on a number of our slides as we go through today. This is what was created by Ashley McDonald. It is on file at the Learning from the Masters Facebook page, and Joe reminded me the way you find that it's too large to put in the file. So all you have to do is run search, and what is it, Joe? You to search Business Leader Guide, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you go in there, and then it will pop up. But all these things, these wonderful ideas that all of the team is sharing with you today, they're in there. Just keep in mind, and we're very grateful to Ashley for having assembled all of those materials. Those are the things that have worked for her and in her group. But keep remembering what Angie said earlier, is that you take all of these ideas and we make them our own. And also, I want to underscore what Becky just said about keeping the goal in front of us. What Stephanie said, for those of you who are on the pre-call today, is that she was setting goals her entire life until she was 25 years old, and she had accomplished every one of them. And then she hadn't set a goal from the time, because it was to get married and have the kids and go to college and get the scholarships and all of that stuff. And then now she was 32 and she hadn't set another goal from age 25 to 32. And when she realized that, she had been searching, she'd been doing all these things, just blogging and doing a stitching business and nothing was a fit until this. And so we keep that in mind. Our brains are designed to tell it very clearly the direction we want to go, and then it will work on it even when we're sleeping. And so today's session about servicing customers, you heard what Lisa said earlier, is that for many of us, many of our leaders, and I would say, Joe, probably the majority of our leaders, come from our customer relationships that we have built. Mm-hmm. And so, and I wanted to insert that here. Becky, I think you have one more slide, but Harper has hopped in a couple times, so what I was planning to do is introduce her as a new key coordinator as of February, and we're really proud of her for achieving that. It's a long road to Tipperary, from 30,000 OV to 50,000 OV. And, it is a huge accomplishment, and there are many other on our training team here who are moving steadily toward that. So we want to share that journey with all of you, because all the things that we are sharing and teaching in these training sessions are the things that are working for us and helping each of the people on the training team to progress. So thank you for taking that moment. Becky, then just show them this, because this is a great concept you've been working on.
Becky, before you do this, this is Joe Coogan. Don't want to lose sight of something. When we were talking about taking notes on our conversations that we have with our members or our business partners, the value of that is it reminds us what we talked about. But imagine when you can say to somebody, in our last conversation, we were touching on this. Yes. It's very affirming, very uplifting, very flattering to that person on the other end.
Very good.
That is such a good point, Joe. And I even try to write their children's names down.
Oh, yeah.
Because
and
that
dogs
really.
And cats.
There you go. Yes. All members of the family.
How's Fluffy doing?
Dogs, yes. Cats, I don't know.
Because it just shows that you care, and they will kind of wonder how you remember all that. And the fact is, you didn't remember it, you wrote it down, right. Which is great. But it just is another level of customer care that really 99% of other businesses do not do. So again, it just is another way to help you stand out. So when you're creating programs and incentives for customers, one of the best things that you can do personally is attend educational events so that you know what the information is so you can recommend them. So there are tons of conference calls, webinars, Facebook events. You will hear us talk many times about different things, and if you're not sure where to find those, just talk to your upline because they're very prevalent. There's something happening, I think, almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lisa did a great job. I love, Lisa, your languaging about referring friends and helping them be more engaged as a distributor. And this is one of the things that I just love is that the company has these power bonuses that are available as soon as you purchase one of the distributor kits or increase in rank, that for every 15 points, you can get $150. And there's an open window for 3 months for you to do that. I won't go into a lot of detail, but if you're not familiar with that program, please look it up. It is a wonderful way to be able to have people earn income quickly. And then just to join us in our business. So they're not just a distributor. They want to be able to build to be a leader. As well, and that these can be accomplished, these educational pieces right here can be accomplished when you meet with someone for a new member appointment, and I'm so excited to hear Harper's information on that coming up in a second. So one of the ways that we can invite new and existing members is we just are updating a walk through the product guide, and you can offer free shipping if they listen to it, maybe a free product on their next order, and I like that little note. You could maybe select something they haven't tried before, but those are all archived at that Better Health in 31 days, and this particular one is there as well. I'll walk through the product guide, and it just is a really nice way to introduce people to the products. The way we did this one is it is an umbrella presentation, so it does hit all the lines, but we did target a few things and cover those a little bit more specifically. So what I would recommend anytime you're wanting to send something to somebody is if you can just be in the habit of being a learner and listening to some things, it just helps you to think of people to send it to. So this would be a great one for you personally to listen to, and then to be able to recommend it. You can just send the link and offer a little incentive for them to do it too. So Harper, take it away.
All right, well, thank you all, and I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit more about this again. But one encouragement before I share, well, I'm going to share a little bit of my background just to give you perspective as wherever you are in the business, that you can start doing any of these things at any time. I joined as a distributor in December of 2005. I became a director in March of 2011. I really committed. I changed those, well, I started. It's a process, but I changed those don'ts and can'ts to do's and can's, and started building a business in January of 2012. But I did not start doing new member appointments until April of 2014 when I heard Lisa Anderson speak on it on one of these trainings, because one of my can'ts was getting on the phone. One of my can'ts before 2012 was getting on these webinars and making them a priority. And when I decide I can do them and I will do them, that made a big difference. So don't feel like it's ever too late to start a new system, to get into good habits, to be able to take really good care of your people. But also, if you're brand new, start a system now. Like Becky said, get in a good system for your customer care, for all of that. The sooner and earlier that you can do that, the better. So don't think this is for people who've been doing the business for a long time. These are great processes to just have as part of what you do, and as your business grows and grows, to have those already happening is a huge advantage to you. But I really have, and then I also have gone back and done these member appointments with previous members that, when I started, I had hundreds of members, and so trying to go back, because one thing Lisa said that really stood out to me was the importance of how doing that new member appointment maintained that relationship, and it just got that relationship off to a good start, because one of the major objectives for our new member appointment is to build a relationship, to introduce them to all of the product lines of Shaklee, to make sure that they understand the Shaklee difference, because that is so important, to offer incentives, and also to introduce them to the benefits of the business opportunity. Now, one thing I want to say about that, though, is that another piece of all of this is that the new member appointment is not our first conversation. The new member appointment, very rarely, unless someone randomly just goes on your website and decides to be a member, but most of the time, this is not our first conversation. So we've already begun building a relationship. We've already begun introducing and mentioning these things. And so hopefully a lot of these things have been, these seeds have been planted. Even with the business, you found that when I am talking about Shaklee, in any conversation, that to make the entire package available, to mention in different, when depending on the conversation, but even to just be planting a seed in their mind that there are incentives for referring, that there are great ways that you can earn money just by sharing something you love, that, you know, yes, this business is something very powerful, and you know, if that was ever something with your background, you know, you could always look at that. Even if we don't have a full conversation, the fact that we've planted some of those seeds also really helps the new member appointment be successful when we have had that opportunity. So don't feel like any of those things needs to wait till the new member appointment. I think that that's the main point of what I was saying. But so then how do we? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to underline what you just said. I never thought of that before, but this segment that we are doing, the 8 weeks to director, is beginning training. And so we're always challenging ourselves about to keep the information that we're sharing here to be the basics to learn. And what I realized in what you just said is when you learn these elements that Harper is going to outline here about the new member orientation, when you learn them, then you internalize them, and now they can become a part of all your conversations. And so that's really what you just expressed, Harper, is that once you learned about that there are ways that we give promotions and incentives for people and reward them. And earlier in the session, you heard Lisa and Becky talk about, you know, kind of the special gifts and special notes and things that they send to people. All of those little touches are what lead to people wanting to be a part of our circle and our community. And so this is a great learning place. And I also want to say we have, we're giving you the Reader's Digest version today of Harper's new member appointment system. But you will see, and we'll give you in the resource section in a minute. There was a full-blown webinar that we did on this in October of 2015 with Harper on the new member appointment. And I would really encourage you to send your leaders to that if you want to have even more of the details around it, because we're hitting the highlights today because we consider this one of the best learning places to get grounded in these things. And then I love the way you just suggested, Harper, that you then incorporate this into all your little mini conversations with people with whom you may never get to sit down and have a full-blown new member appointment with. That was a great idea.
Well, and I just want to echo, Barb, that session that Harper did was probably one of the best trainings I've ever heard on the new member appointment. I mean, Harper really just hit it out of the park. So I kind of like to make it a requirement for all of our people to go and listen to that because it was so complete and well done. So I just...
Good. Kudos. Well,
awesome.
you know, when you're a key coordinator, you get this.
There you go.
Harper, back to you.
Thank you both. Thank you both so much because honestly, Lisa and Barb, like you have been the voices in my head that have put this all together. So I would not, without the two of you, this would not have ever come to be. So I'm thankful that with the things I've brought from you that was able to share something that was easy to duplicate. So thank you, but thank you for being behind this. So the first part of the new member appointment, especially when you're new, is how do I set it up? I ideally schedule this as soon as someone becomes a member. Like, all right, we sign you up, we sponsor you, and before we get off the phone next week at this same time, does that work for you? I just need 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes just to go over the benefits and discounts associated with your Shaklee membership. These are the terms I use. I want to make sure that you get the most out of your Shaklee membership with discounts and benefits. I try to always use those two words. I want to make sure that that we have a chance to talk about this. It'll only take about 15 minutes. And then we give them some specific times. And Ashley's talked about this, and this is a huge piece, because if you say this to them, I don't really know, or if they sign up, you've had the conversation, you send them the links to your website, they sign up as a member, you message them, hey, can we set this up? We need to give them specific times and dates. Okay, I'm free Tuesday at this time or Wednesday at this time, and so. But bringing that up to them, making sure that they know this is for them. This is to make sure that they are getting everything that they need to make this the most beneficial thing to them. But also, same thing with past members. Just letting them know, like, this is something I didn't do before. I realized that there's a lot of information that I hadn't shared with all my Shaklee members. Do you have just 15 minutes that I can help you to make the most of your Shaklee membership and get all the benefits and discounts that you may not know about? And this is so true. I had a person who did not know really how AutoShip worked, and anytime they wanted to add something separate to their AutoShip, they'd place a separate order. And I was like, this is not okay. Like, I need to teach them how this works for their benefit. So anyway, on all of these files are available on Learning from the Masters also, and like the extent of it. But what I do is I set up that appointment, and then 2 days before that appointment, I send a group of files that confirm the appointment. So I would say, all right, we're scheduled for Wednesday at 3 o'clock, so sometime on Sunday or Monday, I would send them these files that I have on the Learning from the Masters, and I would say, I'm so excited to share with you the benefits and discounts available to you to maximize your Shaklee membership. These are some of the things we'll talk about on Wednesday at 1 o'clock Central. Just confirming that appointment. Because I don't like to send all this ahead of time and then try to make an appointment, because oftentimes they're like, well, I got that stuff, so I don't really need it. But letting them know the appointment is the most important part. Because what are we saying? We want to have a conversation with people. We want to develop a relationship. And even though this has a cute picture of my family on it, it's not a relationship. It's not a personal connection. And so one of the things, so I start with just welcoming them to Shaklee and letting them know that I am, my goal is to be a resource and an advocate for them, and that I want to support them. I want to make sure that I'm giving them the service that they need. And I talk about how, Dr. Shaklee took Shaklee out of the stores so that so that people would have someone to help them. People would have an advocate. They wouldn't stare up at the vitamin aisle, not having any idea. So this is my passion, is really to provide that service to you. And so I want to just go over, we set in the objectives, the kind of the agenda to let them know. I just want to go over with you some of the discounts and the programs, how Shaklee's use, share, build options are a great way to look at Shaklee. And then, and so just giving them kind of an overview. And so some tips, since we're not going to get to go through the whole thing, some tips in this that is just to weave different product lines that they may not be aware of as you share. So when we talk about AutoShip and we talk about the skip feature, I talk about alfalfa, or we talk about the 100% guarantee, and I mention a situation with a different product. So just weaving it in to give them a picture of this. We talk about in this, we talk about the Shaklee difference. We go over this. We go over those kind of, all of those pieces of, because in my opinion, the Shaklee difference is the best member benefit that they get. And so I want to make sure that they are aware of that. And also weaving in your personal story. So then the last piece of that, of the new member appointment, is where we share with them the use, share, build concept. And this really is important. And it's important not only because they may say at the end of your new member appointment, I really want to join this business. This is great, which happens. But it's also something that stays with people, because they need to know that even if today this isn't for them, that it might be 2 years down the road. And then they love the products, they may come back. And so to give them this opportunity to see all of the whole picture is really beneficial. So I always tell them, I want to go over that there are 3 ways to experience Shaklee: to use, to share, and to build. And I want to tell you about these because they have made such an amazing difference in my life. So you can use the products by experiencing the way that Shaklee products will transform your health. And I'm so excited to hear your stories, and I'm so excited to see how Shaklee makes an impact on your health. And we know that health is more than just health. And then I also want to let you know that you can share Shaklee products and benefit from that. And so then I go over kind of are the 3 ways that you can share. And I talk about something that they may be, something that, depending on who they are, that they may be sharing, whether it's a baby item or a restaurant that they like, how people share, and we want to reward them for sharing. People don't often get rewarded. For me personally, and I'll say that at the end. But so I talk about how you can learn to earn. You can host some people at your house. These are the rewards that I offer. And I explain to them what a Shaklee meeting is like. That it's about education and sharing who Shaklee is and how we may be able to help them and creating a discussion. Also having Facebook events. There's also, we do referral programs because we want the opportunity to be a resource and an advocate for those who you know and care about. So please feel free to pass on any information, and I make sure to let them know any of the webinars, any of the health chats, anything. You can always pass these on to other people, and we want to reward you because we really appreciate the chance to serve these people. And then I share with them the idea of the casual distributorship, and that if you are sharing, and even if you just first take advantage of these 2 opportunities, and then you are sharing with a lot of people, you can end up getting a check back from Shaklee so that you can get your products paid for. And as you're sharing these things, what a great way to be benefited. And so I talk a little bit about the casual distributorship and what that looks like, especially depending on their background and who they are and how that works. And then I talk about that this is what I did for 6 years. that this was really beneficial and how much it blessed me. But then we really want to make sure we tell them, and we tell them confidently about the option to build. Because if we kind of say, oh, and then, well, you could build a business too, so let me know if I finish. Thank you. Really, but I think that is really important because we have this piece can make you nervous. And the first couple times that I shared this in the new member appointment, even though I had been in this business a long time, I was a little nervous because but because it's in this piece, and but we have this opportunity to share with them. And when we're sharing because we want to offer them something that has had a profound impact on us. And so we have to go in confidently sharing this, and it may or may not be for them, and that is okay, and we can let them know that. So I usually say, and then there's another option, and this may or may not be for you, but I want to make sure to share it with you because of the profound impact it's had in my life and so many other lives. But you do always, whether it's now or down the road, have the opportunity to build a team in a way that works for you and fits in your life, and it really has a lot of potential. I feel like this is by far the best option because it gives you the best of all 3 worlds. But so, however, and I may incorporate it into who they are and their situation of what that might look like, but really sharing with them that they have this opportunity to build a business and they have an opportunity to, and we focus here not only on that it's not just about the financial benefits, but really, to build a business and be part of a team and to have, especially, you have some people who the financial piece is not what is the most important to them. But I talk about in this how building a Shaklee business has helped me to find passion and purpose and who I've become in the community that I'm part of. And I offer all of those pieces to them. And then I always end, and this is something that I learned definitely from you, Lisa, is that I want to get their permission to follow up and let them know that I want to follow up with them so that I can make sure that they're doing well, that I want to be their advocate. I'm not trying to just sell them something. I'm trying to help their health. So I want to follow up. I want to check in. I want to see how things are going. And and I remember when you said this, Lisa, this was years ago on a training, it was like a click in my head that when we set up ahead of time that we want to follow up with you, we want to check in on you, and the reason is not because we're trying to get you to buy more stuff, but it's because we care about you. When I've set that expectation ahead of time, not only when I call do, because they probably aren't even thinking this, but they might be, then they're not thinking that I'm trying to sell them something. But then when I call, I'm not afraid they think that. Because most of it's in our own head. So I know I've told them why I'm calling. So I've set that up. And that took so much fear out of follow-up phone calls for me, because I had already told them I was going to follow up, and I'd already told them why I was going to follow up. And so I think that that is a huge piece to incorporate. And that's why it's this new member appointment, because we're starting it off that way. And so
Very nice.
just because
Very
we want to
nice.
create that relationship.
Yay.
So, then we say, what are the next steps? I think, I always asking them, what did you find was the most helpful? Can I send you any additional information? I always say, okay, when we stop at that, there's a piece, I guess we didn't talk about that, but there's a piece about our Learn to Earn program where I offer incentives for listening to some of these archived webinars or new ones. I make sure to ask them, was there something that, could I send you some of those? Did you want to take advantage of that opportunity? So I may send them a follow-up email with that, and with other, they bought Scour Off, they want the Scour Off usage sheet, things like that. I always send a handwritten note. Sometimes I send it right after they become a member, but oftentimes I wait until the new member appointment, because we have so much more of a conversation, and there may be more things I want to mention and thank them for. And then the last thing is to let them know that you plan to contact them again. And you may give them a specific time, like before your auto ship goes out. If they have an auto ship, I always want to call them before that first auto ship, the second one after they're joining, just to make sure they know how to set it up and they know how to make changes and all those things. So letting them know those pieces, because it isn't the end. It's a great foundation, the new member appointment, but it isn't the end. And then we have more information. All the materials are, all of these pieces that I use that you can look at are available on Learning from the Masters. They're all there, and we have that full webinar that goes through all the pieces too, that is available to you too.
Harper, people are asking, do you do these appointments by phone, in person, or both?
By phone, almost exclusively by phone. Because people are much more willing to commit, because you can say it's going to be about 15 minutes. And also I have found that most of my, I have some in-person appointments that are not with kids, but most of my customers have kids too. And so if we meet in person, it is so interrupted, because there's, there could be like 8 kids running around having to go to the bathroom. I've tried to do them in person. No, I'm serious. And then you're like, what were we talking about? And it just loses the flow. And
no, that brings up such a good.
It's the life that I live.
Yes. That brings
so
up
I
such
find that doing this on the phone is the most beneficial for me.
Well, and I want to just pop in here, because when I first started, all the people that in my group did them in person, and I had these 3 little kids, just like Harper's Life is now, and I thought, I don't even know if these people's homes are kid-friendly. Like, I don't think I can do this in person. And then it's all about that filtering the information, and I thought, well, maybe I could take what they do and do it on the phone. And it works beautifully, because we have so many, now there's even more technology things. You could probably FaceTime your people or whatever, but it is just taking this information and then putting it in a way that's convenient for you, but also for your new person. But excellent points, Harper. I love it.
Very good.
And I also want to mention, about 100 of you have asked to remind you, the full-blown new member appointment is from fall, October 2015, and it was called 100 Days to Amazing was the name of that semester, and it was in October 2015. It was called The Role of the Leader in
Servicing Our Customers.
Something like that, right. It's in there, and that's the full thing, so you'll all see it. And we have it written coming up on a slide somewhere soon, too. Okay.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
So you can see Harper does her business so professionally, but with so much love and warmth and intention that it really, really works. And so I hope everybody got that. You know what I mean? She's got a plan, but she's also very open and loving to everyone she works with. And it's very effective, and it's really strong business building skills. So good job. That was awesome. So Jim Rohn, one of the masters in our industry, here's some really good advice. Talk to lots of people. Be real nice to them. Be real nice to them and give them great service. And this is something we probably all should think of every day because it is the key, right? And then here's our action steps. We talked about downloading the member orientation materials. I think Harper, after she did this particular talk that's referenced at the bottom that Barb has mentioned, actually uploaded those files. So if you go to our Facebook group and you go to files, you're going to just hit the jackpot. It's all right there for you. But create your system. Becky, you did a great job. Get some organization going. Get some tracking in there. Be intentional. It might seem like all this is going to take a lot of time in your life. If you're one of those people going, holy crap, what are these ladies asking of me? Just put that aside, because what happens is when you create this system, you become efficient, and it doesn't take much time. It just helps you be good, right? So embrace it. It's going to be awesome. Yes. So, I shouldn't have said crap. I apologize. It came out of my mouth. It just came out of my mouth.
You're a farm girl, Willie. Yeah.
That's how it happens.
All right. So next week, so we have 2 sessions left. You'll notice last week and this week we really now have gotten into the launch of our businesses. So the first few weeks we were talking about skills building. Now we're getting into the actual doing, the customer contact, the leader contact. And there was something else I wanted to underline that Harper said when she was talking about sharing the business, is that one of the reasons that we ask you in the very beginning, when you're just beginning to develop a business, we ask you to really take some time and think about why you want to do this. And you'll recall what Angie said also when she did that impromptu, business opportunity meeting, that she didn't use a formal business presentation, and she didn't. She brought even her brochure on the dream plan and never even opened it, because what happens when you internalize how you feel about the work that we do, that's what connects us to people, and that's what connects us to our business. Ashley and Katie are going to begin on Monday nights doing the last Monday of the month. They're going to do something called, what is it, Joe? Something like a day in the life of a Shaklee business leader, or a sneak peek into the world of a Shaklee business leader, because what they realized is that how many people would long to have not only the business that we have, but the life that we have, the way that we can integrate our business into our lives without giving up anything, and replacing our incomes. And that's the thing that you want people to understand. So what Harper was saying is that when you internalize that, speaking to people about the business is really like saying, and you may want to know about how home businesses work, because I didn't know anything about them, and gosh, they've got to be the greatest way anybody could have ever invented to earn a living. And when you just say that, do they need to see any numbers? All they need to see is how you feel about it. So that was one of the things that you heard Andrea talk about. What Andrea, she was having difficulty with her technology, but you know what she told me yesterday when I called her? She said, I am marching into my supervisor's office today, and I'm going to cut back on my hours at work because I need more time to build my Shaklee business. This is where I want to be. This is how I want to live. This is what I want. I really understand that now. And so when you have that within you, it comes out. So what materials you use, that's what Angie was saying, is use whatever is authentic for you. But that's what Harper was expressing, is that once you feel proud and like you're letting somebody in, because the reality is we do not invite everyone to be a part of our business. I mean, it's like, when you're applying for a job, there are certain skills that you need for any job that you are applying for. And so we are the same. We're the HR, human resource directors of our businesses. And we're inviting people in. And really, the only really important criteria they have to have is they just have to be wonderful people, people who are easy to talk to, who are good-natured, and who, men and women. I mean, I realize we kind of sound like The View. People have referred to us as, but we have a lot of guys who are joining us in our training, and the same thing is true for men. Men and women both long to be in businesses and organizations that appreciate them. And so that's like human needs. So you wanted to scroll down, Becky, and show them where the addendum is. A few people asked about that. So in the last, Joe, 3 sessions, I think, we've included an addendum section, and we just have more details about some of the materials that we mentioned. But we run out of time, so we just have them all there for you. All right, and Joe, you want to go through any of the questions?
Yes, there are quite a number of questions, Lisa, for you about your culture of referral partners. You referred to it, and what is it that you say to people?
I usually just kind of casually drop it in, but when I offer education to someone, so a webinar or something like that, or when someone first gets their products, I'll just tell them, as you're listening to this or as you're using products, you're probably going to think of people that could use this information or that would really like these products, and I would love to find a way to just help you share with them, and sometimes I'll say, I love referrals, so please pass my name on to them. If it's a CD, I'll say, feel free to share the CD with someone that you think that could be interested in it, because I would love to share Shaklee with them. But what I'm doing is just really gently planting or suggesting the idea that they're going to want to tell people about Shaklee, and that's the way it's supposed to work. It's natural, and I'm helping them feel comfortable. Because people get themselves all worked up, and so if I can say it in a real comfortable manner, I want them to say, "Oh yeah, that's easy. And my sister is going to want these because I know she is." Stuff like that. Does that make sense? So it's not really rigid, but I just say, as you're doing this or using this, you're going to think of people, and let's talk about that and figure out the best way to share with them. So.
Nicely said.
I'm coaching, yeah.
Yeah, right. The book that we were referring to is Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. Last name S-I-N-E-K. You can find it on Amazon. And that was where we got the material on the circle of safety.
I wanted to add something in. I actually don't know if it's one of the questions, but I oftentimes when I'm working with new people say, I'm having a hard time getting someone to set up the appointment. Like they're not sure, they don't understand the importance of it or whatever. You're trying to get it set up and you can't get it set up. Really listen again to Harper's Languages about discounts and benefits. When I want to set this up with someone, I'll say, I'd love to go over your member benefits. There's lots of things you have coming to you, and I don't want you to miss anything. Mm-hmm. Every single member, well, not every single, 90% of my members, 90% will listen to that because it's just like Harper said, everybody wants to know what the discounts are. And so when you have that kind of languaging, I just feel like it makes it a lot easier to set your appointments because that puts priority to them, for them in their mind.
We found that the posture of the leader makes all the difference too. If the business leader says, what we do when someone sponsors into our group is we do a quick appointment. Yes. People don't question that; they just follow lead. But if the business leader says, well, I'm really hoping that I can talk to you. Would you have time for that? That's not the way you do it. And so, not that we're being bossy, but we're just letting them. This is protocol for our business, and they follow suit.
Good point, Lisa. Yep.
And you know what? There's a basic principle behind that, and any time we invite anybody to anything, we always want to add 2 elements to it. First is what's in it for them. Mm-hmm. So what all the examples that you're hearing is about why they would want to do it, for the information they're going to get, for the discounts they're going to get, for the insight they're going to have. That's number one. And the other is always tell them why you want to do this. So Lisa just said, in our group, we set up a quick appointment because this is how it's a service that she is offering to her customers, make sure that they get all the deals. That's a wonderful message to convey, but behind it is what's in it for them. Good examples. Okay, Joe, any more?
Yeah. Oh,
there was about 100, I know. There was a really lovely message by Catherine. See if I could find it.
Harper, are you still there? Someone's questioning about Evernote, the app you talked about. Can that be shared between can a husband and wife share it, or everyone has their own?
Evernote.
Yeah. Evernote.
There are definitely ways that you can share pieces of it. I don't know the extent of it. I know I can share certain files with my husband. So if I say like this file, like I want that shared between him and I, then we can both make notes on it. So you can definitely do that.
Okay.
I don't know I don't know about the whole account, but I know that at least the specific notes you can.
Okay.
And there
are tons of YouTube trainings on that, so you can find. I mean, I'm not an expert. That's not what I use. But I know I've used it enough to know that it's great. So you check YouTube out.
Thank goodness for YouTube.
There's a really lovely statement I wanted to read from Catherine Ferries where she said, "Great ideas, never too late to learn the new processes that we are not doing. I am a seasoned but small business-minded leader. I will commit to the details to make a strong business." And that's what you're going to hear in 2 weeks when we talk about what our mindset is affects what we are capable of creating. And when you make a shift, like you were just saying, from being small business-minded to strong, deep, big business-minded, then you better believe everything that comes out of your mouth changes because of what Dr. Shackley said. What you think, you look and say and are. So thank you. It's a lovely comment. Great. Joe?
Learning from the Masters is a Facebook group. It is not on Shackley's website. It's our dear friend Carol Cash set that up, Learning from the Masters.
Carol Cash said, she said, could Lisa repeat, how she introduces people to the idea of the new member appointment, and then she said, but tell her to speak slowly so we can get it.
That's not my strength, Carol. It's not my strength. You have to record it and play it back in slow speed.
She's speed writing over there trying to catch that.
Well, there's always more thoughts trying to come into my head, so I have to go fast to keep up with them.
I wanted to address Carol Steele had a question about being at a distance from customers, and I totally hear you, Carol. When I first started my business, we had just moved to Wisconsin, and so all the people I knew were in Missouri and Texas. And so I started all of those connections that way. So when you had said, how do I do a smoothie workshop when my person's out of state, there are other things you could do. You could send your person maybe 2 or 3 of the smoothie samples. You could do, just be creative. Think with your upline, what are some ways that you can service people at a distance? There are some things we can't do if we're not there physically, but I hear your heart.
Yeah, good. Okay. And one last thing. Gwen Halsey asked, and Becky, you're going to want to talk about this, but there's that whole question of the incentives that we offer and how it's a win-win for you and for them. And she was asking about how do you offer incentives and not give away the store. And I think we struggle with that. And Becky, this week you've just been working on that. Do you want to share some of your insights about it?
Well, it is a great question because I have to think in 2 different places because I have my own business that I've had for several years, so I have a little bit more freedom in my income of what I want to do for an incentive, but I have to also, I try to actually model whatever I would recommend for a new business builder because I want to be mindful of expenses the whole time. So when you're offering something like free shipping, that's totally great. People love free shipping, but just remember, you are not actually a benefit in that. They are benefiting because they get the free shipping, but maybe instead you would want to do a free product, and whether that be something that you attach to their order, because you will get PV for that. Now you're paying for the product, and the members gain the PV, but that all goes up to you. Or if you just order some lip treatments and keep those on hand, and then you send those. Those all have PV attached to them. So just think through, is this a nice benefit for my customer, and do I benefit in any way in this? And sometimes, like the free shipping thing, even though we don't directly benefit, we are benefiting because the person is excited to order. So that's a benefit. But just to weigh those kinds of things out, I think are really helpful, and just brainstorm with some people about what other ideas are.
The point is, you want any promotion that you offer to be a win-win. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to offer free shipping, which is we know in today's world that's a big deal, mm-hmm. then figure out what you want them to do in order to earn the free shipping, and then it's a win for you and a win for them. That makes sense? So that's mm-hmm. sort of the criteria behind it. And
I appreciate that, Barb, because I will always attach a money amount. And some people put PV. I feel like most of my members don't really understand PV, so I like to do a money amount and say, if you have an order of, $75 or $100, I'll give you free shipping, or whatever, mm-hmm. Or up to $10 off your shipping.
And I also, there's a whole, I think we even did, Joe, didn't we do a whole session on, what do we call that, marketing strategies or something like that? Yeah, because you start out with, what do you want? Now, where you are in your business, there's going to be two things that you want. You're either going to want PV, mm-hmm. or you're going to want new leaders, in terms of your goals. I mean, the most basic. So let's say you wanted new PV. There's two places that comes from. Either you look at your existing customers who are buying a bottle of Basic H once a year, so you want to introduce them to other product lines. This is where the new member appointment, takes care of a lot of that. Or, just remember what Harper said is the new member appointment when you can set it up. But if not, take the elements of the new member appointment and apply them in individual conversation. Mm-hmm. So give people a reason to try a different product line, to use an additional product, give them a discount on a product, knowing they'll fall in love with it, that kind of thing. So you want to increase the individual customer's usage, and that's the product education, or you want to have more customers. So ideally we want all of our customers using all the products. That's the goal, right? Uh-huh. So you figure out what is it that you want and then give an incentive for that. So if you need more customers, then you'll notice you have lots of strategies you see here, especially in pre-calls, where you call existing customers and you say to them something like, when you think of all your friends, what are the health issues that you hear people having greatest concern about? And then you take whatever those topics are that they tell you, and you create something around it. Create a meeting, a conference call, or something around it. You can do it that way. Or you can say, who do you know who suffers from allergies? Spring is coming, and blah, 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 and the reason I ask is I'm doing a thing. And so you come up with ways to incentivize referrals. So whatever it is that you're wanting, that's what you then create. I hope that makes some sense. So then you create your promotion around that.
Yeah, and you can take the new member appointment and just use it as a member update appointment too.
Yeah, and I will say, years ago, Barb, you told me, or you asked me, I was getting really good at my new member appointments, and you said, "Now, are you generating PV from those?" And I was like, "Oh, no." I feel like I'm getting really good educational information. And so then you suggested, well, maybe you could offer a little incentive. And so what I like to do is I I do some kind of gift if they order within 2 weeks of our appointment. So my gift is tied to their order. And if I like giving the 2-week time frame because I know budgets, not everybody can do it right then, but I will set up a reminder in my calendar that I'll remind them in a week that they have 1 week left if they want to take advantage of that perk, and then maybe this is the last day if you want to take advantage of that perk. So now I always get PV, not always, again, but I many times get PV from my new member appointments, which is great.
So if you remember when Harper started that section, she said there are 4 objectives for the member appointment or the member update appointment. Number 1 was build a relationship. Number 2 was make a sale. Now we believe that people's lives are better with Shaklee products in them. And so we want them to begin using them and to Shakleyize their homes and so forth. And number 3 was obtain referrals. So we create some incentive within that new member or member update appointment that will incentivize them to give referrals. And then number 4 is keep our antenna out for new members. New business partners. And so those are the 4 objectives. So if your objective is to make a sale, then you'll have a different mindset as you come into it, and you'll be asking questions about, so tell me about what skincare products do you use now? Well, now you can tell them about Empucel and it's like that. Tell me about what you clean with now. You see, and now you can make the connection of, then these would be the ones that you'd want to know about that will be safer, healthier, save you a bunch of money.
That's really good, Barb.
All right. Anything else, Joe?
Oh, there's. The more we talk, the more questions we generate.
Never-ending webinar.
Yeah, exactly.
So see, we know that this is a big topic because this is really the essence of our business. This really is where we develop more. When this becomes your system, this is the essence of how we develop more customers and we develop business leaders. That's why this session is so critical. And we will go into it in more detail. What is it, Joe, in 3 weeks? Is it that we will be starting our next...
4 weeks.
That was Joe sighing when I asked her that. Like, oh my God. Yes, because this is all going to be kind of fresh material, but that's Journey to Executive Coordinator, and we'll do a deeper dive, as they say, into some of these things because it's really the essence of making your system now for your business.
Barb, some people are saying they can't find that business leader guide, but I just did. I went to the Facebook group, Learning from the Masters, in the search.
She had the wrong name of it.
I typed in Business Leader Guide,
That's it.
and then you got to scroll down, and it pops up, and it's there.
She had put in Business Leader Resource
Guide. Business Leader Guide.
Just 3 words. Mm-hmm.
And it's shared with Dropbox because it's so big.
I always treat things like that just as a game. I start throwing in different words, pulling them out, and eventually I get a hit.
You don't like
it's a treasure hunt.
I gotta love you, Lisa.
Game. That's better than I'm going to throw my shoe at it when it doesn't come out.
Right, it works too.
Okay. Anything else we need to?
I think we're good. We'll see everybody next week when we talk about doing plans, the strategy behind having a plan and the value.
One of the things we're going to bring to next week is this whole new marketing strategy of reset programs, and they have been amazingly appealing to people. Ashley told me that 60% of her new members are coming in through the reset programs, and she's doing them 5-day reset once a month. So we'll be sharing all the materials that go with that. You'll have the stories around it, and we'll show you how you can take any of these individual marketing ideas and strategies and apply PV to it so that you'll know how to build a director with it. So little taste of what's to come. Okay, see you all next week. Thank you, training team. What an exceptional session.
Good job, everybody.
Really great. All right,
Goodbye.
thanks, everybody. Bye.
we have our Monday Wellness webinars, and this coming Monday is going to be nutritional support with Dr. Cheney. We've got Lyme disease coming up. A really neat one on March 28th is a sneak peek into the life of a Shaklee business leader. That's going to be a great one. Then back-to-back business ones. I love that Gary's going to be on there too. And then just some really wonderful topics coming up in April and May. Then this is a really neat article. I had not seen this, but I think Richard passed this along to Barb, and just talking about the whole retirement piece, and that so many baby boomers are looking at being able to still have income. And so I'm not going to, should I read the quote, Barb, or scoot along?
Well, Becky, I think the point is that we just to include a few of these little, as Barb calls them, factoids, to help us realize the need that is out there for people to hear about Shaklee.
It's such a good point, and I will say, and I've shared on these conference calls before, that my husband is very financially minded, and there was a time in our Shaklee business that my income made him nervous because it wasn't always necessarily always predictable, but then he has very much enjoyed that it can also be way more than you anticipated too. And just a few years ago he said, I don't worry about retirement anymore because I know that we have our Shaklee business. And coming from him as a financial minded person, that really meant a lot. So it's just important for us to know, and this article then it came from Forbes, and that's where you can find it online. And then was Stephanie going to talk about this slide?
Yes, and I was just looking real quick to see if Stephanie had joined us. The Chairman's Retreat.
There she is.
Stephanie is on there?
Stephanie, can you hear us?
I'm here.
Oh, yes, yes. Stephanie found out she was joining us about 3 minutes ago. But I had when we came back from the Chairman's Retreat, I wanted to frame this back because Andrea and Angie are trying to figure out how to get Andrea on at the moment. And I began calling the people who had attended that to hear their feedback about this conference. And so the first thing I want people to know is they referred to this Chairman's Retreat as the first one, which I thought was a good indication that maybe there'd be a second one, right? And they kept referring to it as Chairman's Retreat 1.0. So there, it was an experiment on their part, and it was a real hit. So I wanted to invite a couple of the folks who had attended just to share a little bit about their experience. And I saw this post by Stephanie Bruce, and that I was just going to share with you. And when I called Stephanie and then Angie Thomas, who you're going to hear in a moment, the depth of the experience for them was so profound that they now are going to be helping to lead our week 8, which is going to close up our beginning training here with understanding about our thinking and how we see ourselves as a leader and how that affects us becoming, the 8 weeks to director and going beyond. So Stephanie, with that, let me just so Stephanie will be coming back with a lot more detail in a couple of weeks, but I wanted her to at least share what was behind this post. So over to you, Stephanie, and then I'll bring in Andrea and Angie.
Sure. Okay, great. Well, if you guys read the post, you'll really see my raw emotion coming out in this. I had actually posted a picture of all of the Team Lagoni that had qualified for the trip. There were 9 of us, and I want to say we were probably one of the largest teams that were there as a whole. And, I really, living so far away, I don't necessarily get to see people except online and over the phone. So it was such a great bonding experience of getting to know people personally. And, I really felt like I learned that this whole experience, this whole journey is so much larger than myself, that I kind of have had skewed perspectives, I think, going into everything with Shaklee. My whole 2 years I've been very focused on my team and myself, but not really past that and thinking about kind of what Roger was really telling us about, that this is a world vision. He has worldly visions for Shaklee, for health, and making a positive impact. And I really was moved and touched by that. And, you know, I wrote a blog post too, and I really emphasized about all I learned and really felt on this trip, because I really realized it's not about me, and it's not about the struggles and everything that we're going to go through. It's all for the greater good and the greater goals that we all have. And one thing I've really struggled with is always setting goals for myself. I've a checklister, so I had set goals all my life, but then all of my life goals that I ever had, I checked off by the time I was 25. And now I've just been kind of living these last several years like with no goal. And I really realized that I need to have a goal, and that there's so much more out there that Shaklee can offer that we can be a part of because of this conference. It was just so good to connect with others and hear exclusively from Roger, because I felt like we got to know him on a much more personal level, and that was super good for me, because you kind of think of him, you know, if you don't know him very well, you think of him as a businessman, a very smart, educated person, and you may not relate to him because he's a billionaire, you know, and I don't know if we all are. I'm not a billionaire, but it was so great just listening to him talk about his family and how he parents and why he chose Shaklee, because it resonated exactly with why we all chose it too. So it was a wonderful experience, and the group of women is just incredible.
It was. And so if you would, Becky, move to the next slide. And I think we have Angie and Andrea with us now, do we?
We have Angie, but I can't get in. When I got Andrea conferenced in, I couldn't hear you guys anymore.
I got it. Okay, all right. Well, we'll have to move her to you, and you maybe you can tell the story for the two of you. So this Angie Thomas and Andrea Opalewski began this journey with a pact. So maybe start with that, Angie.
Okay. Yeah, so at conference in Cleveland, Andrea and I sat together during the part where Roger announced this opportunity for everybody about the chairman's retreat and, you know, the fireside chat and everything. We just looked at each other and we were like, this is happening. We are gonna be there. And it was just this moment that I think we both have talked about on separate occasions to a lot of people. But it was just this moment that we're like, we know it, you know? We like look at the numbers and we're like, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it. And so to be there with Andrea after we made this pact, like it just wasn't going to happen if we both weren't there. It wouldn't have had the same, that same experience of beginning to end for us. So when you asked us to talk about a few things of what we learned from there, Andrea and I, we gave you 4 bullet points, and since I can't see the slides, I'll try to speak to what Andrea was going to say, but I'm not going to be able to convey her, exact emotions on it. Can you read me her first slide or her first bullet point so I can?
Can you guys hear me?
Andrea?
It's working! Oh my gosh, you guys! Yeah. I'm sitting in my car at work talking to my iPad, hoping that it's gonna work. So
it works. I love determination. Very good.
All right, so proceed. Okay.
Okay, so I think for me, when Angie and I were talking last night, there were some really big things that happened, and it's really hard to put into words, but for me, setting goals, it was something I could do, but becoming a master coordinator was something I didn't ever consider. But being in that room and sitting there, I think there was like 200 or so of us there, and just looking around and seeing that there was someone of every rank there. And it wasn't just master coordinators that achieved this goal, that it was something that all of us could do if we sat down and put our minds to it. And that has helped take a lot of fear away from what I'm doing, because I think sometimes I just don't do things because I'm afraid. Because I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And then, I'll have to admit that maybe I didn't do it right or whatever. But listening to everyone speak, fear is something that we need to use to push us forward, because we use those failures as part of our story. They don't define us and make us who we are. We just allow them to keep building us up and moving forward. And that's where I also have decided that we just have to do something. Just, we can't wait to get it all right. We have to just be moving forward and doing something every day, and that's going to continue to move us forward and to reach our goals.
Beautiful. Excellent. And so, Angie?
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and there's, like Andrea said, there was so much that happened, and it's so, I'm still kind of absorbing it all and reflecting on everything. But two of the things that I think that were really impactful for me were this whole piece about authenticity. And I feel like I'm an authentic person. I love the concept of being authentic. I think that's something that, that is a beautiful thing for every area of life. But what I realized, because I went there with the mission of let's figure out how everybody else is building, and I'm just going to do what they're doing. And I think that what I realized is that we, in that effort of just doing what everybody else is doing, it's not authentic for me. And it's either coming off clunky, or then I'm fearful, so I'm not doing it because it doesn't feel comfortable, or it's coming off as dishonest, whether that means sharing the business or sharing the opportunity. And then, I'm sorry, my daughter's getting out of the car.
Are so amazing.
I'm sorry, there we go. Hi, Eliza.
We probably should explain that Andrea is at work, and Angie is in the process of dropping her kids off that have to be at school right at the top of our hour. And so
okay, I think
with us involves a lot of juggling on their part, and we appreciate it because what you're saying is really important. So go ahead, Angie.
Okay.
Is she off? Okay.
She's off and running.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you. So this piece about authenticity in the way we share our business and the way we share the products, I feel like it connected a lot for me that that maybe I just need to take everything and take all these ideas on how to share those things and then apply them in a way that feels real for me instead of trying to copy what everybody else is doing. And I felt that very connected to that piece of it. The other piece that I thought was really helpful was this circle of safety, which is a concept that was discussed in a book that we all talked about called Leaders Eat Last. And in the circle of safety concept, leaders have this, imaginary kind of hug around their team that people can feel protected. They can be vulnerable and not be shut down for that. That they know that their leaders are going to go to bat for them or sacrifice for them. And I think that's a really beautiful concept. And in my mind, it sort of looks like a hug, or red, museum barriers, ropes around everybody. And we can do that for our teams. We can do that a little bit for our customers more on a one-to-one basis. Our leaders do that for us. And there's lots of circles of safety that we have. I think it's another thing that those accountability circles can give us is that circle of safety. It reminds me of that movie, The Circle of Trust, with the Meet the Fockers movie. But I keep thinking of that. Sorry. But
I don't have any idea what that movie is.
Well, somebody's laughing
those
out there.
Cult ones, okay.
So anyway, there's so much, but those two pieces I felt like were really applicable to wherever people are in their business, whether they have people to lead yet or they're still on that journey of finding people. So.
Okay. Could I just take one more second here? I know we've just run over it a little bit, but when you talked about making this your own and taking and learning from other people, but then making it your own, can you quickly just tell the example of what happened yesterday when you did the business conversation?
Oh, sure. So I had a meeting set up before, I set this up before this past weekend, before the retreat. And it was someone from church who I've never talked to about Shaklee. We've never hung out outside of saying hi at Mass. Our husbands are friends, and that's how I got her phone number. And she had mentioned to me one time that her kids will both be in school next year, and she's going to have to find a job because what in the world is she going to do with all that time? And so I said, well, I'd love to tell you about what I do because I have a really flexible working from home kind of thing going on, and I'd love to share that with you. And that was like 2 or 3 months ago. I finally got her number, got her last name, Facebook friended her, and then attacked her with my with my idea of meeting with me for coffee. And so I had no idea how to talk to this person that had no idea what I did. So the day before yesterday, I texted her and I said, it occurs to me that you don't even know what I do. Would you like me to send you a video? So she said, oh yeah, that'd be a great idea. So I sent her a 2-minute video, and then when we met, like all I did was bring the catalog, and I brought the Dream Plan brochure, which I never even ended up opening or giving to her, and I just shared my story and what this means to me. I didn't go through payment plan. I didn't go through a flip chart. I didn't go through, look at all the things all the money that you can make. I just try to just share. And for me, that feels really good. That's a very comfortable way for me to talk to people. Again, it's maybe not the way everyone feels comfortable sharing, but for me, it really worked. And I felt like we had a really great, honest, real conversation. She was able to ask me real questions. She said, you know what? I've heard about these kinds of businesses. Are you going to tell me that I can make $1 million this year? Because I'm not into that.
Oh, great.
And I was like, no, I'm actually not going to tell you that. So it was a really real conversation. And I feel like, I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I feel like she's going to be able to honestly review it, and we can have an honest, whether she says yes or no, we're still going to feel comfortable with that. So,
but it felt at the close of that like you had made a friend.
Oh,
that's the whole point. Is that we learn phrases and we learn thinking from one another, but in the end, it's us figuring out how we feel about what we do and sharing that with others. Beautiful. So I thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you, all of you, for joining us. I just felt it was so important for people to hear a quick report from the Chairman's Retreat, and we will be bringing you a lot more in 2 weeks on our Week 8. And with that, Lisa, you get us started. 3, 2, 1, right?
Yes. And let me just throw in, because I've glanced at some of the questions. The book is called Leaders Eat Last, and the quote, the concept was a circle of safety, and I just recommend that everybody get it because it is a really good book. So I just thought we would field those real quick. So with that, I will count down 3, 2, 1.